Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today's video is all about the harvest. Join me as I dig and pick all the vegetables that you see here. We'll go over harvesting, of course, and also go over some tips to help you grow these different vegetables in your garden. But today's about the harvest. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm still amazed every time I go through, pull out a big harvest, wash the vegetables down, take videos like this, take pictures. I mean, I am just always amazed. It brings me a lot of joy. I hope you enjoy your garden and follow me. I'll teach you how to grow food and have some fun. These are bush beans. They were supposed to be pole beans. I had them all set up. There's only 2 plants in here because I thought they were going to be pole beans. 1, 2 right over there. And you can see the first wave off of this plant of green beans is ready to harvest. So I'm going to take all of those. There are still more flowers coming up at the top where it's continuing to grow. You see a lot of baby green beans on there. You usually get about 2 big harvests off of your bush type green beans. So now's a great time. I'm going to harvest all these. I'll show you that. I'm going to just drop in a couple more seeds right here. Keep the bush beans going. You don't want to try and keep these alive after they've really produced the second time. Maybe third time. Just plant some more seeds. These are going to mature very quickly, and you can get almost 3, maybe even 4 rounds of bush beans in your summer garden. That's a good amount of green beans. That'll be perfect for dinner tonight. We're going to go harvest some potatoes. I'm going to have potatoes and green beans. When you're in there taking the green beans, now is a great time to also be removing any leaves that are beat up, yellowing. The plant just doesn't need them. You know, open up the bottom a little bit, let some air go through there. One tip that I do recommend is we've had crazy heat. I watered these plants yesterday evening, knowing that I was going to be picking today. Water them the day before, let them have plenty of moisture. This way, the beans that you're picking or whatever crop you're picking is full of moisture. They're going to taste better, and they're just going to be, you know, in a better shape just because you gave them some water 24 hours earlier. Turnips are one of my favorite crops to grow. You usually plant them in the cool weather in the spring. Here are 8 turnips I just pulled out of this area. The rest of the turnips here, they're just not really forming, so I'm going to get rid of them. I'll show you how to quickly fix this up and reseed. Turnips are cool weather crops, but you can keep planting these throughout the summer. So I'm going to put in a second round now towards the end of June. The leaves might get beat up with the heat of the summer, but you're still going to get beautiful turnips. They're really resilient. They grow well in the summer. Leaves are beat up. Don't worry about that. They can take a lot of damage, and you still get these beautiful, beautiful turnips. Let's go over to my other turnip patch and see what we have in there. I just want to show you how beat up the leaves are. I mean, look at these. They just look bug-eaten, beat up, but when you get into here, the turnips are just wonderful. Let's see how many we can get out of this space. Here's a smaller one. Here are 5 more turnips. I think that's a total of 13. That's plenty. I like picking them when they're about this size right here. The larger turnips are still good. The only thing you want to watch for is if they start to flower, it's going to change the turnip taste, and it's going to change really the consistency. It's going to become more woody. They're nice and tender when they're about this size. So I'm going to clear out this area, get rid of these parsnips actually. Been letting them flower, form seed heads. They're going to go in the perimeter of my wooded area, and I hope to get some, you know, wild parsnips growing around the edge of the wooded area. It's not a forest, but the wooded area. And that'll just create beautiful flowers for pollinators. Turnips are really easy to grow. Let me show you how I set up that area for a quick replant. About a dozen turnips, that's perfect for a family of 2. I mean, I'm not going to eat more than that in a week. They are great to grill. You can broil them. I like making turnip mashed potatoes, half turnips, half potatoes. We'll be harvesting those in a second. Perfect together. They make a great mashed potato. In replanting, again, you don't want to have a ton of turnips. What are you going to do with them? I even pickle them. They're really, really good. Just in a small space like this, we're going to make 2 rows. Turnips, you know, take a lot out of the soil. We're going to add in some compost. Compost is best. If you have that, a good inch or 2 of compost across the top. If you don't have compost or you want to add in something extra, you can add in a big handful of organic granular fertilizer. Just get that into the area. You want this to be nice and loose, and you're just going to mix everything in to the soil about 4 inches deep. You just want to mix the organic granular and the compost and the soil all together really well. Flatten it out, press it in a little bit, firm up the area, and then for the seeds, about a 1/4 inch deep. You know, you don't have to be exact. Every 3 or 4 inches apart, something like that. And then maybe I put 4 or 5 inches between the rows. And that's good spacing for the turnips. And you saw how big some of them get. Then I'm going to drop 2 seeds per hole. 2 seeds per hole, about 1/4 inch deep. When they're about this tall, I'm going to thin to the strongest turnip, and they're going to be good to go. With the heat of summer coming in, you want to water these every day for a good 7 to 14 days. Make sure the top inch of the soil doesn't dry out, or it can mess up germination, or it can kill off the germinated seed. If it gets too dry, it's going to be problematic. After about 2 weeks, just water when needed, and you will get beautiful turnips for a second and even third round, depending on where you're growing. A vegetable I really love is kohlrabi. This is a beautiful ball of kohlrabi. It's a root crop. It grows above the ground. You might see some white flies around here. It's okay. I'm going to be harvesting a lot of this. Kohlrabi is a brassica. We'll get the green cabbage worm. The leaves get beat up. White flies will come in. But I just love the taste of it. Tastes like really like a cross between a cabbage, maybe in a broccoli crown, something like that. I just harvest it, number one, pull it out of the ground. It's beautiful. You can eat the leaves if you want. I just peel this area, eat it like an apple. It's absolutely delicious. Over here I have more, and you want to harvest it. Well, that one is in there pretty tough. I've been pulling them out of here, so I'm only going to take 2 today. You want to get them when they're about this size. They are, in my opinion, better when they're more round. As they start shaping like this, sometimes they begin to get a little bit more woody. They are a bit of a challenge for me to grow. These are definitely cool weather crops. I plant them in the spring, harvest them about now, middle of June. I'm going to plant these again probably at the end of August. So you can plant them in the spring and in the fall. They love the cool weather. The leaves can take a frost. They just need to slowly develop. Sometimes it gets too hot here in Maryland, going from spring into the summer, and they just don't form nicely. I get a better harvest in the fall, but these are just beautiful, and I eat them, like I said, just like an apple. This is my root crop section. Got a little bit overgrown when I let all those parsnips go, and there's a random asparagus growing in there. Anyway, the beets are doing really well. Beets get beat up. They get a fungus here in Maryland. Sometimes I treat it, sometimes I don't. You can see it better here. They continue to grow. They get leaf miners too. Don't worry if the greens are getting beat up. You know, if you're trying to grow them to eat, you want to take a little bit more care of them. But I just love the beets. We eat tons of them. I pickle them, we roast them, and now's the time to really start pulling out some of them. Look at this. These are golden beets. This is massive. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be tender. And right now I'm just going in looking for usually beets about this size. For some reason, some take off. Some stay smaller, but I'm going to get a nice round of beets coming out of here. And let's move into the back there. Those are Detroit Golden right up front, and then those are just Detroit Reds right in the back. Let's see what we can get out of here. These are good size. Let's drop them down. I'll show you everything I pull out of there. So what I'm doing is looking for beets that are about that size. See what else I can find. We'll take this one out of there, and I have beets in one more area. This was, I think, my second wave of beets that I put in the spring. Let's go to some that are a little bit larger. Here's one of the first wave of beets that I put in. They're planted really closely together. They were put in on March 6th. They took a while to germinate because the soil was colder, so it's been a good, really, 100 days. Beets don't usually take that long. You know, somewhere between 75 and 90 days you're going to be able to get beets right away. Typically, I plant them in the spring, but I'm going to plant another round just like I did with the turnips. And these guys look good, so just going to pull a clump out of here. There's a whole second row in there on the left, which I already ate. I mean, look at just how beautiful that is. Let's see what else we have. When I plant them this closely together, I like to usually go in and then harvest them, you know, every other. We'll take this big guy out too. I mean, look at that. Really nice. Harvest them every other. This way there's more space for the beets that are smaller to continue to develop. Beets do pretty well in the heat. So again, in Maryland, I can let these go, let them get a little bit larger, just stay up on the watering. These are my pepper transplants that went into the ground on May 3rd, and they are doing extremely well. I mean, look at this beautiful bell pepper. That is ready to come off. I'm going to be shooting a video on growing peppers soon, so I'm keeping that one on there. Here are my gypsy peppers. I mean, so many of them are ready to go. I'm going to take those off now, and just look at all the peppers on here. And they break off really easy. You want to be very careful with the pepper plant because the actual stems of the plants aren't as strong as you think. So you want to pick them up, give them a twist until they break off, or cut them off with the scissors. If you start tugging on these, it can break the branch. It can break the pepper plant. So you don't want to do that. But absolutely loaded. We're also going to go over to my Shishidos, which are producing really crazily. Here's a quick harvest of about a dozen gypsy peppers. Just beautiful. I mean, look at those. This is one of my pepper patches of Shishidos. 3 plants you see right here. They are pretty much ready to be harvested. You want to get them when they're about this size. I just grill them. I'll come out here, we'll pick a couple dozen, grill them on a grill with olive oil, some garlic, and they're absolutely delicious. Give them a little char if you want. Sometimes a Shishido, typically sweet, but sometimes it can have a little heat to it, like a really, really mild jalapeno, so don't be surprised. But I'm going to be able to take out a couple dozen of the Shishidos for tonight. Actually, tonight it's going to be turnip mashed potatoes. Tomorrow, over the weekend, we're going to be grilling up a lot of these Shishidos. So let me get some of these ready. Look at all these Shishidos. They came from the 3 plants here and 3 other plants. Really, you know, about 2 dozen. Perfect. Good to grill these up on the weekend, like I said. Shishidos are just absolutely delicious, really prolific. I highly recommend them for your garden. I have 3 zucchini plants. I've been harvesting zucchini like crazy. You don't need more than really 2. Really for a family of 2 to 4. This guy's a little bit oversized. Make sure you give it a twist or use a knife. You don't want to disturb the actual vine. And this is perfect for zucchini bread. You want to harvest it when it's smaller if you're going to use it in salads or stir fries because the seeds aren't mature. When it gets a little bit bigger like this, again, it's perfect for bread. Sometimes you have to core the seeds out. Let's see how many I have. The tip too is anytime you're out harvesting zucchini, look on the undersides of the leaves, and then these are squash bug eggs. You want to rub them, definitely get them off the plant. I have a video on managing squash. I will put that in the video description. And just check everything out. There's some eggs right on here. Get rid of the eggs. By getting rid of the eggs, you're going to really reduce the number of squash bugs in here, and your squash are going to last a lot longer. And look at those. There's some future zucchini right there. Here's the first zucchini plant that I put in. There's another one ready. We're going to give that a twist. Again, that one's a little bit oversized. This is about the size I like down here for stir fries and for salads. And you can tell the skin is still shiny. The seeds are going to be immature, a little bit easier to eat. We have another one over here. Like I said, let's get that out of the way. There's the other one. Give that one a twist. And when I was in there, I'm always looking around for the eggs. Like you really want to bring some soap, put some dish soap right on the eggs, smash them, remove them. There were more that I saw down here. I mean, take a look at those. Get rid of them. More eggs. This will save you so much trouble going down the line if you're just constantly checking for eggs. Let's see if there's anything else in there. No? All right, one more side to get to. Zucchini will go from, you know, a nice small size, perfect for salads and stir fry, to like a monster baseball bat size. I don't see any in here. Lots of flowers, more to come. And again, keep checking. I mean, there's more eggs right on there. So when the squash bugs start laying eggs, they're going to be everywhere. If you see one grouping, you're going to see a whole lot more. This is my yellow scallop squash. Now these guys got a little bit too big. They're not going to be the best because the seeds are going to be too large. And when they get to the dark yellow color, if you're growing yellow ones, you can grow them in green, different colors. They're really kind of past their prime. You want to get them when they're about this small. I just missed these. And they're super tender, sliced up, put them again in salads, stir fries. When you get larger like this, they're a little bit hard to use. Going to be harvesting from my leafy green area. This is kale, does really well through the summer. Highly recommend growing kale. Delicious in the spring, delicious in the fall. Not as good in the summer, but it keeps growing, so it's a nice green to have when it's really getting hot. So I'm going to harvest this just before I use it, so it's not sitting out. And you know, I don't want the leaves to kind of lose their water pressure and stuff. So I harvest it fresh. Just come out, break off the leaves. Over here I have Swiss chard. You only need a couple of leaves. I use these in stir fries. I usually take the stem out, that goes into the stir fry, and then the leaves go into a salad. And they just snap off like that. I mean, they're just beautiful. Great in the summer. Grow Swiss chard spring, summer, fall here in Maryland, Zone 7. I highly recommend it. And again, I'm going to be grabbing this when it comes closer to time for me to use it and prepare it this weekend. I have basil growing throughout my garden. I will link a video on how you can grow basil, really all summer long. Cucumbers are going to be ready soon. I've been harvesting a couple of them out of there. I'd like to get the basil too right at the time I'm going to use it. Sometimes I use it in spaghetti sauces, different kinds of salads, but I just come in, pinch off the top, get rid of any of the flowers that are starting to form, and I use the basil fresh. I have so many blueberries growing. I've just come out here and I eat handfuls of them. These are going to be made into kind of a preserve on Sunday, so I'm not going to harvest them yet. But I am getting, pints and pints of blueberries out of here. Now, with the last 10 days being 95 degrees, a lot of them are starting to dry out. So unfortunately, the weather hasn't been the best. But I have 16 plants. I highly recommend blueberries. Mix up the varieties, mix up the seasons in which they mature. Meaning, well, I shouldn't say season. I don't want to confuse you, like spring, summer, and fall. You have early producers, mid-season producers, and late-season producers. So they're going to kind of form their blueberries over June and July. And if you mix them up, you just get a longer harvest. But there are so many blueberries. Same with blackberries. I'll be harvesting these on Sunday, and I'll be making a preserve out of them. There are just so many. I've been really just eating these. I come out, I pick a handful, I eat them for breakfast, for lunch. Blackberries are doing really well. They're nice and sweet this year. Absolutely delicious. Highly recommend blueberries, I highly recommend blueberries, but if you're also going to be growing blackberries, I recommend getting the clumping variety. This is an Arapaho variety. It's thornless, kind of stays put. It doesn't, get out of control and go all over your garden. So get the clumping varieties. Blackberries are a great addition, and they're always ready to harvest sometime between June 15th, first week of July. I love potatoes. I just put in some leeks. Leek and potato soup is wonderful. A lot of these are ready. You can see that the green is starting to die off in different places. That means the potatoes are just about ready to go. I'm also going to be planting a second round. You can see the potatoes down there. They're starting to chit and grow green. I'm going to put in a second wave in about, I don't know, maybe this weekend actually, so in the next couple of days. Just want to show you a harvest, because now is time. Whoop, just stepped on them. Tested these, took a look in there, found some of the potatoes are ready. This one was a little beat up, so we're not going to eat that one. But I'm just going to go in here and feel around, and I have purple Adirondack Blues. They're called Adirondack Blues. Some red Nordics. Is it red Nordics? Or red Norlands. But anyway, it's a red potato, Pontiac Reds. I'm gonna go dig through these real quick. Let's see what I can get out of here. You can go ahead, use a fork and just turn everything. I like to just take them as I need them and just feel around. A lot of these are gone because I've been grabbing them just like this, but just look at all those potatoes. Let's see, I want a couple more because I'm gonna be making the mashed potatoes and turnips. So a nice mix of potatoes will be great. It's a good start. Let's see what else is in here. Here's some more. I mean, it's a good amount of potatoes. Let me see what else I can grab. Sometimes as you go down deeper, you'll find larger potatoes. I mean, look at that. That's really, really nice. And just hunt around. It's kind of fun. Kids really like doing this when friends come over and they have children. They're really amazed that you can find potatoes by digging in the ground. This is really a nice little harvest of potatoes. Didn't do much digging. Plenty to make my mashed potatoes. Enough to have breakfast potatoes in the morning. I'll make some sort of hash browns. These came out of a 20-gallon grow bag. They're Yukon Gold. And I really just kind of dig in, see what's there. As the weeks progress and all the potatoes die back, I will dig through here, look for lost potatoes. But this is pretty much what I do. I don't really leave these out to kind of get a tough skin and store them or anything like that. I eat them fresh. So I'm always just kind of pulling them out of the containers by hand, just as you saw. Thanks so much for watching. Harvesting is a great time of year. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. And again, please subscribe and follow me. I'll teach you how to grow food, have some fun, and really enjoy getting vegetables, leafy greens, fruits, berries, everything out of your vegetable garden. Thanks for watching.